So in this video today, we're going to be going over my around $5,000 Pokemon card collection. I've always been a fan of Pokemon cards, always been a fan of the Pokemon games. It's been a part of my life throughout my entire life. But once I, finally became an adult and got a big boy job and started, making some money in 2021, I started taking a portion of my paychecks and putting them towards Pokemon investments. Like every single paycheck, I started buying stuff, and I was doing that over and over and over. But then eventually, I started deciding to put my money into other things like stocks or crypto or Counter-Strike investments or whatever. And Pokemon kind of got pushed back on the wayside. But in 2026, it's one of my big goals to start getting into Pokemon once again. So this is the first video, of rebuilding and restarting back up my Pokemon collection. It's looking back at all that stuff that I bought in 2021 and 2022 and seeing how it's done over these past couple of years. So the first thing that we have here is actually something that is very, very, very cool, and actually something I'm pleasantly surprised by. This right here is the Sword and Shield figure collection. A very, very cool piece. You can see that promo card Pikachu in the middle. That's actually a very, very cool promo card. You can see it's got some of the other starter Pokemon in there as well. It's got the figures of the starter Pokemon. Very, very cool. It's got 4 packs in it. I see a couple of Rebel Clash packs, a couple of other packs in the back. But this is a very, very cool sealed product. And I actually bought this for around, it looks like $80. And now I saw the most recent sale on eBay for around $250. Again, I don't know if that's the exact price, but it's somewhere, upwards of $200. And again, I thought this was just very, very cool because I love sealed product. I'm a sealed investor first and foremost. And that's what I'll continue to be going forward in the future. ETBs, booster boxes, ultra premium collections, and then also really, really cool stuff like this that comes, anything with a sealed Pikachu promo card is always probably going to be a pretty safe bet. But I also really like how it has the packs, the figures, all that stuff. I think this is a very, very cool product. And again, this is not something that I thought was going to go up this fast in price, but I was pleasantly surprised to see how good the prices and recent sales looked on this. But I actually think this is a very, very cool product and something that I'm very, very happy to have in my collection. And honestly, I wouldn't mind having, multiples of this. Next up, we have something that I think is pretty cool, but this honestly kind of ended up being a dud. And maybe this is something I'll end up like opening on the channel or something like that. I do want to make like shorts and, pack openings and stuff like that. This is the Charizard theme deck from Vivid Voltage. I know at the time this was a pretty hyped up thing because people were talking about how some other theme decks had ended up being pretty good investments, and sometimes the promo cards can end up doing pretty well, whatever. This is the like cracked ice Charizard promo card on the inside, and then obviously like a theme deck from Vivid Voltage. I know Vivid Voltage stuff was pretty kind of really hyped up and probably overprinted and oversaturated and all that stuff, so this thing hasn't done that amazing. People were pretty hyping this one up a lot. Like I said, I actually paid $27 for this, and now the most recent sales are like $16. So this is over the course of like 3, 4, 5 years now. At this point, this thing's actually gone down. It hasn't really done anything. So again, this one I would probably just want to crack open at this point and get that promo card because it is still a very, very cool Charizard. But I did think this would be a little bit better having, a unique Charizard promo card inside of it. But this one's been kind of a dud, but it's still a cool piece to have. Next up, another kind of dud that I wouldn't really mind ripping into was this Vivid Voltage. This is the Build and Battle pack. And again, you can see a lot of Vivid Voltage stuff. I was getting into or back into, Pokemon card collecting and investing at the time where Vivid Voltage was really hot and it was all the rage, and it had a lot of different, stuff that people were really excited about. And this Build and Battle deck, again, I paid $87 for this. It's now currently sitting at $55. This is another thing that I wouldn't really mind just kind of ripping open into at this point. It's not really anything that maybe it has a bright future ahead of it or whatever, but there's probably just better places to be putting your money right now. But overall, still kind of a cool thing. It's got a couple potential different promo cards inside of it. It has, the possibility of getting a promo Charizard on the inside. So I think it's kind of cool. Again, not necessarily something that I would recommend buying or that I would have rebought at the time, but hey, it's something that I have in my collection. And finally, sticking with the theme of Vivid Voltage, I have a Vivid Voltage booster box here. Obviously just a box full of Vivid Voltage booster packs. Like I said, at this time, people were really excited about Vivid Voltage. I know it's, it hasn't ended up being the best performing collection or anything like that, but it has kind of started going up recently. And I do think, going forward in the future, this could eventually still, have room to price appreciate and all that stuff. And I never think booster boxes are that bad of a thing to hold, because I still think this is a fun collection to open that people really, really like. Yes, a lot of the supplies are disgustingly high and all that stuff, but still, this is something very, very cool. And again, the theme of Vivid Voltage not doing that good. I paid $239 for this, and the most recent sale is $229. So again, after multiple years of holding this, and in the midst of, everything doing insane over over the past couple years. It's actually down $10, which is very unfortunate. But still, this is not something that I mind, holding going forward in the future. And I hope it'll end up doing well. But either way, this is still a cool collection with some cool cards and some cool packs. And just to show you that I'm not a complete failure, we need to move on to some stuff that I've actually made a little bit of money on and some stuff that was actually a good purchase. Here is a Celebrations. I wanted to say 151 for some reason. Here is a Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection. This thing is very, very exciting. This is definitely something that I was really, really excited to pick up at the time. And literally as soon as I bought this, I mean, this thing has just always been a beast. As soon as I bought this thing started going up crazy. This was a thing that I know a lot of people were picking up, a lot of people were investing in at the time, and it has done very, very, very well. Now on this one, I actually paid $232, and I see the most recent sale on eBay is actually at $800. So this has been absolutely insane. This has been one of my better purchases. This thing has gone absolutely crazy. I just had to prove to you guys that not everything I bought was Vivid Voltage, and not everything that I bought has gone down in value over the past couple of years. Again, I think overall I've definitely made money in Pokemon. I had some very, very good investments. We'll get some other heaters here in a second, but this is one of my favorite pieces of my collection. Again, I'm a person who loves sealed product, a sucker for sealed product, and yeah, this Celebrations UPC is a very, very cool one. You can see how shiny and reflective this thing is, like bouncing off my face and stuff. This is a very, very cool piece, and I'm happy to own. Next up, we have a Shining Fates ETB. I actually bought 3 of these at the time. And again, Shining Fates is not a set that's done that well or been that amazing of an investment. Again, this is a one that has some very, very high supplies, was like printed a ton, but it's also a very cool set, a fun set to open, some cool cards in here. I know, obviously Hidden Fates, kind of had a lot of the hype and whatever, and that got to the point where maybe Shining Fates was a little bit, oversaturated and overdone and all that stuff. But I actually think right now still, with how cheap some of these prices are, Shining Fates might not be the worst purchase in the world right now. But this ETB, I paid for these. I spent about $55 each on these. Currently, looks like they go for about $115. Again, I bought 3 of them. I only have 2 of them currently in my collection. Actually gave away one of them as like a birthday gift because, I knew Shining Fates wasn't really, it was, not insanely expensive, was still kind of cheap relatively, and I knew I got a good deal on them. So yeah, I've kind of doubled my money on a couple of these. Was able to give one away, so that was cool. And yeah, I don't know. I still, even at these current prices around, 100, 115, 120 bucks, I think these are really, really good pickups actually. These are something that where I might end up buying some more of these because I think this is a cool set. And the prices are not too terrible still, even years later. Get to another one that I'm also very, very excited to own and something I've done very, very well on, some Hidden Fates ETBs. Again, Hidden Fates is a banger of a set. Very, very popular, very, very fun to open. Hidden Fates products have done very well, especially depending on obviously the prices you've been able to get them at and stuff like that. But I bought 2 Hidden Fates ETBs, one for $140, one for $145, and I see the most recent sales on these bad boys at $400. So again, I spent under $300 total for about $800 of value right now. And again, this is stuff that I just see continuing to go up in the future. I absolutely love this set. Love these packs, love these cards, love having sealed product from Hidden Fates. Very, very, very cool. Again, I have 2 of these in my collection right now, which gives me the flexibility of, eventually being able to sell off one of them, keep the other one, open one, keep the other one. We have all kinds of different options here. Hidden Fates stuff, banger of a set, banger investments, banger collections. Really, really happy to have this. Finally, we get to the biggest banger of the video, the coolest thing I guess that I have in my collection, the most expensive piece of my collection, one of the things that I've done the best on, had the biggest gains on and stuff like that. This is an XY Evolutions booster box, an absolute insane product. Now again, a couple of years ago I paid $715 for this. Currently, the sales, these don't sell very often, especially how expensive they are, but I did see a sale recently around $1,750, so possible that I'm have around $1,000 in profit on this right now. Obviously, XY Evolutions, very, very cool set. Old, rare, checks all the boxes, high demand, a lot of good things going on here, and being able to get some sealed product from this collection is something I'm very, very excited about. And again, this was a risky purchase at the time. Maybe not risky, but a scary purchase at the time. Spending $715 on Pokemon cards was absolutely insane, especially for me when I had just, gotten into the workforce, just started making money. I didn't have money. I was literally, like I said, I was taking my paychecks and just putting them into, Pokemon card collection, stuff like that. But this one has absolutely paid off in a big way. And I hope the main takeaway you guys see from this is that, you know, buying sealed stuff from highly desirable collections and just waiting is how you make money. Now, obviously, you're going to have some duds. You're going to have some swings and misses. You're going to have some home runs. But, you know, if you get the good stuff, if you buy sealed stuff, you know, whatever, there's opportunities in the Pokemon market. And obviously, the last couple of years have been absolutely insane, but I still think the future is bright as well. So this XY Evolutions booster box has been an absolute banger of a pickup for me, and it has been, you know, one that I'm really happy to have. A couple of other random cards that I bought as well that I want to show off real quick, just if we're showing off everything in my collection. I randomly bought this Gyarados Rainbow Rare. I think it's a pretty cool card. Gyarados, one of my favorite Pokemon, so I always just have this sitting on my desk. Again, this is something I paid $65 for. It's worth like $45 raw now. So I'm down on this, but I think this is a really cool piece. One of my favorite Pokemon. I thought this was a cool card, so I like just having it sitting on my desk. I like looking at it. Obviously, I still like and, you know, appreciate cards and art and stuff like that. And then I also bought this Charizard illustration Charizard PSA 10. I just think it's kind of a cool card. You know, I like you know, unique cards. I like you know, unique Charizards, unique Pikachus. You guys have already seen plenty of that, you know, in the collection and in the stuff I'm buying and things like that. But again, this I paid $68 for, and it's like $55 now, so down a little bit on this. So you guys can see there's definitely stuff I'm up on, definitely stuff I'm down on, definitely stuff that's gone kind of sideways over the past couple of years. But I think if I continue to hold a lot of this stuff in the collection, it'll continue to go up. But also, like I said, in 2026, if I continue to buy and add to my collection, maybe start buying and selling some stuff like that, I also want to get into, you know, buying stuff from other people. So if there's ever anything that people are looking to sell or anything like that, they can always hit me up, because you know, I do cash trading in the Counter-Strike world, and I don't think that's that different between buying and selling you know, Pokemon cards. And maybe I'll end up being a Pokemon card vendor or sports card, or, you know, just trading card vendor one day or something like that. Who knows? But I am always willing and able to cash people out of their collections, of their cards, of their slabs, you know, of their whatever. And we'll have to see what the future has in store. But yeah, this is, again, in total right around $5,000, a little bit under $5,000 that my collection is currently sitting at. But I hope you know, at this time next year, things will be looking a lot different, not only in terms of the gains that I've seen on my stuff, but also on the new additions and new pickups and stuff that I bought in 2026. We'll have to wait and see what happens this year. Pretty much it was the video today, guys. Hopefully I catch the next one. Until then, peace.